Yesterday I published my last video of 2025 and today is New Year's Eve and I'm going to be cooking and recording my last video of 2025 and this will go live earlier in the new year. Up and down the country in Italy today and tomorrow, coming to that, they will be cooking and eating roasted lamb. It's a very traditional recipe with potatoes. This is not lamb, this is mutton. Mutton is an older sheep. I think once they pass the age of 2 years, they are called mutton. And this is a ram, a male sheep, of course. It was donated to me by my sister-in-law. It's been in the freezer for quite a number of months now, so I decided to keep it specifically for New Year's Eve. Lamb is very young actually, up until the age of 1, and then they turn into something else. I think the name is hogget, if I'm correct, although it's not a very widely used word in English. And then they turn into a mutton after the age of 2. This is clearly deeper and richer in taste than lamb, and it does actually require longer cooking times and also marinating, which is not something that we tend to do a lot with lamb, although you can marinate lamb as well. So I'm applying 2/3 of a glass of dry white wine first. I'm removing the zest from a lemon, as I will be using it later for a second marinade. So that's done, and I'll chop this in half, and I want to extract now the juice from the same lemon. Perfect. You have seen me very slightly scoring the top of my mutton, and that is to allow the wine and the lemon to just gently penetrate it slightly. So I'll put the lemon on top just like this. And this is the end of marinade number 1. I'll apply a little cling film on top, and I'll place this in the fridge for a couple of hours, and I'll see you then. And I'm now moved on to the second stage of my marinade. This is a combination of rosemary and sage, and rosemary is really good with any lamb or mutton, whatever you might be cooking. And remember those little bits of lemon zest which I reserved earlier? I will add them now. And I'll start chopping this until it becomes really small. I like to do that because I think that the herbs you use are going to attach themselves to the meat considerably better if you chop them in minute pieces. You can also add mint if you want alongside the sage and the rosemary, or you can substitute the sage with mint, but I would definitely stick with rosemary as a base herb. And I'll be honest with you, I would have added mint if I had some, but I don't, so I'm not going to. So here is my combination of herbs, and I'll move them into a bowl to start with, followed by 1 teaspoon of salt and some pepper. Another key ingredient which goes really well with this dish is garlic, and I will be using it twice. I'll start with 1 clove, and I'm gonna crush this in my battuto. By the way, this is called battuto. The reason why it's called battuto is because you are bashing it. Battuto means something bashed. So my garlic goes in, and I'll finish with a little olive oil. We got a passenger, Julie, going by. I'll mix it together, and this is ready. And this is where you need to decide what you're going to be cooking it in. Today I'll be using a casserole with the lid, but of course you can also use a normal oven tray. I'll start by applying a big branch of bay leaf at the bottom, and more rosemary. I did mention rosemary plays a key ingredient in this dish, so here it goes. And here is my mutton. I'll move this out of the way, and I'll move it on top of my rosemary and bay leaves, and I'll pour all of my new marinade on top, and I'll massage it using my hands, and I'll turn it over so that I cover the entire surface of the joint. And back on top of my rosemary and bay leaves it goes. Now, assuming you're cooking something similar, it doesn't have to be mutton, of course, it could be a joint of lamb. Get hold of a paring knife. Make sure that you are aware where the bone is, and I'm going to pierce 3 holes, and I'm going to go halfway the depth of my joint. So I'll do one here, I'll do one here like this, and I'm going in twice like a cross, and I go also here towards the end. I've got 3 cloves of garlic, and I'm gonna cut down, but not all the way, like a cross, one like this and one like this, and this will enable the flavour from the garlic to come out even more, and I'll put it inside each hole. And this will distribute even more flavour inside my joint as it cooks. So here's my third one. A little bit more rosemary. I'll fold it in half and I'll place it inside the same hole so that it stops the garlic from popping out, and again it will release more flavour. So that's number 2, and I'll do the same over here. It is almost ready to go in the oven. Now, I'm not sure why, but lots of people would dispose of the lemon and the wine. I don't. I just pour it at the bottom, and it actually really enriches the flavour, and it's perfect. So in it goes. I'll place the lid on, and this will go now in the oven. Initially, it will cook at a temperature of 200 degrees for 60 minutes. Any temperature I give you, by the way, is for fan ovens. So if you're using a normal oven, up the temperature by 20 degrees, any temperatures I give you. And then I'll lower it to 160 for a further 90 minutes. So I'll see you in 2.5 hours. Now, if you paid attention earlier, you might have spotted Julie in the background going around and tidying things up. Also, if you look behind me, Christmas decorations have gone.
It's all over now.
It's all over now.
It's all over.
On the 31st of December is when Julie has a fit, and she decides to come down after a month of Christmas decorations. And I always say to her, if aliens were watching us as a human species, they would think we're really, really strange. Think about it. We put decorations up. In my case, I have to go in the loft on the 1st of December, retrieve 13 boxes, and then we spend the day pretty much putting decorations up, and then a month later, or thereabout, we just do the opposite. And I think if they were watching us, they say, these human beings are very strange. They do something and then they reverse. Especially in our household, because we got 13 of those boxes. The funny thing is that we have a game going on in our house, and whenever we put the decorations away, there is always something left behind.
Always, without fail. I think I found the last thing earlier, so I think I've done it this year. I've not
She said
left
that
anything.
before. She says, I think I got them all, and then a week later she'll come with something, say, look, we got that left behind. Anyway, back to my recipe. The mutton is cooking away in the oven, and I'm now replicating the same, it's very similar, but to using the same herbs, rosemary and sage, because I'm going to work on my vegetables. I mentioned at the beginning of this video that culturally and traditional in Italy, they make this dish with lamb, but also they tend to just stick to potatoes. And I always think it's a little bit of a shame, because actually I think it's a missed opportunity. There are so many beautiful flavors and juices coming out from the lamb, and to not take advantage of that, it's a shame. So I will be using potatoes, but I will also be combining some other vegetables to my meal. And it is New Year's Eve, and it is nice to have a combination of colors to complement it all. So I'll just peel a few vegetables, but also I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with them, because being that it's New Year's Eve, I want to make them look a little bit more special and elegant. So I'll start by peeling my potatoes. And by the way, this potato peeler, I think, is very, very famous, because so many of you have asked, where did you get it from? And it's really nice, actually, because it gives the vegetables a nice finish, and when they cook, they are even crunchier. It's called kiwi here, if Julie can kiwi, K-I-W-I. If you were to, is it Y? No, yes, it's an I. K-I-W-I. And if you were to Google kiwi potato peeler, you will find it immediately, and discover as well on Amazon. They're about 10 to 12 pounds in English money.
But we've had it for years, haven't we?
Yeah, we've had it for years, yes. And I noticed that lots of you, whenever you see me peeling vegetables, you ask about it. And actually, yes, I agree, it is a very nice thing to have. So using my kiwi potato peeler, I'm just peeling initially the potatoes, and also I'll do a few carrots. Again, moving away from the traditional and cultural recipe from Italy, but it doesn't really matter. You do whatever you like, and that is exactly what I'm doing. So I'll finish my carrots first, and I'll remove the head and the bum, and they can go in the compost bin. So with these ones here, I'll just merrily chop them in half, and I will leave them as they are. So, potatoes, let me show you what I've done. I've got the little lid from a jar of marmalade, use whatever you have got available. Place the potato inside, and then very gently start cutting it with the knife. And I'm leaving about half a centimeter gap in between each cut. And of course, bearing in mind that I cannot go all the way to the bottom, is leaving the potato as a whole attached. And oops, that happens all the time, by the way. You have to turn it around. And then you will end up with something which looks like this. And here is the last one, and I'll do it again in case you were not looking, and off we go. See, very simple. Let's see if I can, there you go.
Genius.
Genius. So I've done that with the potatoes, and I've already peeled some onions, and I've got one with the skin still. Actually, I need to remove this little part. I've washed it, and the reason why I'm keeping this with the skin is because skin releases color, and I like the idea that my roasted lamb will, or my roasted lamb mutton will have a little golden color from the skin of my onion. And I'll do that with this onion over here, and I'll go all the way like this. And that's one. But with these ones here, and I've got a different idea. I'm getting very creative today. I'll put it like this so that it sits nicely, and I'll cut it this way first, then I'll turn it around and I'll cut it this way, and then I'll turn it around and I'll do same again and same again, and I will end up with something which looks like this. During Christmas, Brussels sprouts are very, very popular in the UK, and we are not different. So we got some left over, so I decided that I would use this tonight, as they will add a nice green tinge to my dish. So the only thing that you need to do if you go Brussels sprouts is to remove the bottom, as it is a little bit tough and also not a very nice color. I have washed them, but having removed the bottom, it is also a good idea to just remove the very first layer of the peel, the outside, and that will ensure that your Brussels sprouts stay lovely and clean. The Brussels sprout expert has spoken, and she has said that I should remove more until I get to a nice and fresh, clean green color, which is what I've got now. If you see, that's perfect. So I'm sure you've done this before. Just a little cross on the top of each sprout like this, and these are also ready. Okay, back to my battuto now, and just like before, I'm going to use a large clove of garlic, and just like before, I'm going to crush it using my little crusher over here. So in it goes. I've already put some salt in my lamb earlier, so I'm only going to put now half a teaspoon, especially because the salt for this is in front of me and won't want to get in trouble. And I'll add some olive oil, just like before.
A healthy dollop.
A healthy dollop, indeed. This is only a temporary passage, as I'm waiting clearly for my joint to cook at the moment. So I'll start by moving all of my vegetables inside this dish over here.
Oh, more garlic.
I'm so sorry, earlier I said that I was only going to use garlic twice. Of course that was for the mutton.
He lied.
So, I lied, no I didn't. I wasn't thinking about the vegetables. So I've actually, I really like garlic when it's cooked whole. So I'm not even going to remove the skin. I'll just leave it as it is and I'll put it in. And back to my marinade, I'll start spreading it using a little teaspoon on top of each piece of vegetable first to ensure that I don't run out, including the onions of course here, and the carrots and my Oops, I'll tell you what, I'll do like this, which is easier, and all of my Brussels sprouts. Sleeves up, and I'll make sure that all of my marinade now goes inside each vegetable. So I'll start with the potatoes first, and of course, being that they are sliced, they will cook quicker, and also I think that they will cook better in this particular case. But be very careful, as they could break easily, so obviously not that it matters too much, but if you want them to look a little bit more elegant, do ensure that you apply a little bit of care. And do the same with all of the vegetables. Same with the onions. Here is my other one with the skin. I'll just make sure that really, more importantly, all of my marinade goes inside. And over here I'll mix everything with my hand, including my carrots. And all I need to do now is to wait for my mutton to come out, and then I will put them in. And I'll do that in 2 stages. Julie
Sorry.
just sneezed.
Sorry.
She must have got a little shake on the camera, but I'll show you that as and when. Also, I wanted to say, if you have got a joint of lamb instead of mutton, you can of course replicate entirely this recipe. The only difference is that mutton, being obviously tougher and more mature meat, need to cook long and slow. With lamb, say for example you've got the same size joint, 1.5 kilo of lamb, I would recommend that you do all of these together, and then you place them inside the oven. Do not cover it, and cook them at a temperature initially of 200 degrees for 45 minutes. Then after 45 minutes, get it out, give everything a shake, and then cook it for another 45 minutes, but lower the temperature this time then to 180. And that should be enough, 1.5 hours for lamb. If you like it kind of little pink in the middle. If you want it to be completely cooked, maybe cook it for further 30 minutes. But obviously this is a different procedure because we are cooking mutton today. So I'll see you in a little while once the muttons come out. And I'm ready to move to the final part of my recipe. Here's my mutton. I'm going to move into a new dish, as this is a little bit too charcoaly for my liking. So I'll just pick it up and move it here first. You can see that it's looking nice and crunchy. A little bit more wine on top of my mutton to ensure that it retains its moisture, followed by the rest of all of my vegetables alongside it. Kitchen foil goes on top. Back in the oven, 190 degrees for 45 minutes. After the first 45 minutes, I will remove the foil, and I will cook it for a further 30 minutes, but I will up the temperature to 200 so that the potatoes and all of the vegetables will come nice and crispy. But I will be removing the mutton then, otherwise it will end up a crispy itself. So see you then. We are there, finally. A little bit of a long cook, but you do have to take time with these things, because the longer you cook it, the better it will taste. It's one of those things. So also important to keep your meat in some foil, because it gives the juices the opportunity to just rest the meat and go through properly. So I'm going to use a little pizza dish here. We were wondering what to use to serve it in, and that's the best that we have come up with.
Yeah, we'll strip the house down.
Strip the house down, that's fine. So I'll place that in the middle like this. Julie and I had a little debate. She doesn't like this little bone, so she said you need to take it off. You can
Take
leave
that
it there.
off.
So there you go. Happy now?
Yeah.
And here are my vegetables, which I've cooked on their own for the last 20 minutes, or 25 minutes I should say, and they're ready.
It all smells delicious.
You wait until you taste it. I'll place a few potatoes over here, just like this. Oh, they look nice and crispy. Look at them. I'll move on to the onion station next.
Oh, look at them. They look super,
They look
don't
nice,
they?
don't they? Over there. And here is my onion with the skin, which I left at the
That's
beginning.
your one, that one.
That's my one. Okay, fair enough. Look at the carrots. I'll turn this around so you can see better. Don't they look beautiful? Look at that. You're not able to see this because obviously we are cutting the video, but Julie and I, in between frames, are having this little debate where to put food. She's over here. And I said, no, I'm going to put some over here and some over there. So there you go. Too many cooks.
No, it's traditional Francesco. Ask me my opinion, I give it to him, and then he's like, no, I'm doing this. Well, don't ask me then. I will admit, my serving is not the best. As my husband says quite often, I end up shoving it on the plate. All goes down the same way and tastes good.
Well, I think the idea serves its part also, so it is important, especially on New Year's Eve.
Good Lord, that was a plateful.
My son Roberto is visiting us at the moment, but he's not here. He went out with some friends and he saw what I was cooking and he said to me, I will be back tomorrow. He's sleeping over some friends and he said, you will leave me, Sam. I said to him, there's 1.5 kilo of mutton and all of this food. Do you think Julie and I, your mum and I are going to eat all of this?
Yeah, but he knows us too well. There was like a distinct possibility we might.
So this is ready. All I've got left to do now is to taste some and then I'll say cheerio. And of course the real taste after all of this cooking is to ensure that my mutton is nice and tender, and you can see actually my knife is going through just like butter. Look, it's absolutely wonderful. And the smell is so great. I think that if you take your time and you cook it properly, you will find that actually more mature meat tastes better than the younger meat. And also I feel better about it because I don't really like eating lamb too much, as poor things, they haven't lived for very long. But let's try this. Oh God, so tender, so tasty. It's unbelievable. I'm not going to hold you to wait until I taste everything, but I'm keen to just try a little sprouts because it's kind of unusual. It's a Francesco's addition. Oh, they're delicious, honestly. Everything is delicious and really tasty. Delighted, and we're going to enjoy this. And by the way, before I go, I wanted to say that during the Christmas period, I've been recording lots of videos, and I've made a number of dishes, and I will be posting them during the first few days in January before I launch my other series. And so do not worry if you see Christmas decorations up again. It's because there are videos that I could not squeeze in before Christmas or before the end of the year. So, and then of course everything goes back to normal. Well, Julie would like to come and say cheerio, as it's the first of the year that she's been patiently filming me. And you want to try some?
Not on camera.
Not on camera. Well, I will have to. Anyway, Happy New Year. Hopefully you enjoy this dish if you make it. I'm sure that even if you make it with lamb, remember, don't cook it so long, otherwise you will end up burning it. It's absolutely to die for. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.